Greetings and welcome back to the channel, guys. I know it's been a while, but we got a new ESO build. It's a DK. Surprise. No one's playing a DK right now. It's crazy, right? Now, of course, we had the DK rework. Everybody's playing a DK. You basically are almost not seeing anyone else anymore. It's just DKs, DKs, DKs. The DK rework has some good things, has some bad things. Let's not talk about it. If you've ever been in my stream, you know I have some opinions on it, but let's not talk about it here. What is this build? So this is mainly a Magicka build, if that still exists in this game. Um, but we're focusing on basically always on penetration. I know everybody's always using corrosive because corrosive is really, really strong. I'm personally not a big fan of corrosive, so I made a build that doesn't need corrosive, and we're also not using corrosive on this build. Our penetration is very high at all times, which is the way I like to play. I prefer the always on penetration. I don't want to proc things or have to have a certain ultimate that gives me that penetration. I just like to have it at all times. So that's what this build is supposed to do. Let's just look at the stats here real quick. So we're rocking a whopping 26k Magicka, which is pretty decent, I would say. Reason for this is, with a new inhale skill and the way it works, having a bigger Magicka pool kind of really helps with the sustain on it. Um, I don't ever feel like I have any like real Magicka issues. Even if I run out of Magicka, like one inhale just basically takes care of that. So really strong. So you kind of want to have bigger pools. And that's why we also have a 21k stamina pool. It's really, really easy to keep this one up. We have a couple of skills that cost stamina, and this is kind of like a, kind of runny, dodgy kind of build. So you're going to be using your stamina. So having a bigger stamina pool, first of all, means you can use more dodge rolls, more blocks, more sprint, and also the skills that cost stamina. But also it means when you use your inhale, which I'm going to be showing you in a little bit, you're going to get more stamina back. And then, of course, roughly 29k health. You can go for more if you want. I'm usually don't really like going over 30k, and I'm okay with 29, 28k. It's what it is. But if you're not feeling comfortable, of course, bump that up as much as you want. I personally wouldn't recommend going like super high because then you have to, lower your magic and your stamina. But you can easily take like 2k of your magic, maybe 1k of your stamina, and put that into the health, and then potentially get up to 32k health if that's more comfortable for you. When it comes to the regens, they're intentionally low. We don't need them because Inhale takes care of all our sustain needs. So no regens needed here. Spell damage. Now let's look at what our spell damage looks like. So the weapon damage comes up to 5k. This is without the Cyrodiil buff, and this is also without our infused, or actually I don't have, do I have an infused staff on the back bar? I don't even know. But if you have an infused staff on the back bar with a weapon damage enchant, that would also give you a good chunk of weapon damage here. So fully buffed, I think we're sitting at like 6k, which is half decent, I would say. A lot of people would say, oh, if you're not running like 8k, you're not going to do any damage. That's not really true. We have a lot of penetration, so our damage mostly comes from the penetration. You can do a lot of damage with high penetration, even if you're not pushing super high weapon and spell damage. So 6k with the amount of penetration that I'm going to be showing you here in a second, uh, just gets it done. Honestly, it gets it done. Yeah, as you can see, we're rocking almost 22k spell and physical penetration at all times. This will go up once we hit people with the DK breath. That's going to give you another 6k, so you're going to be ending up with almost a 28k spell and physical penetration, which should be enough to penetrate most people fully, and some of the more tanky targets to a good amount. So I think that's just gonna uh, do you very well. You could push it a little further if you wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary because pushing it further than that it's just going to mean you're gonna penetrate the really, really uh, tanky people a little bit more, but it's not going to do you any favors for like the light armor, medium armor users. They're they should be covered with like 28k penetration. So uh, that's that. Our resistance values. Let's see how far we go up here. 25k and 23k. Not too shabby. This is not a super tanky build, of course, but I think this is more than enough. Very decent resistances here. And then we're also rocking a whopping almost 2100 critical resistance. Very nice. When it comes to our Mundus, we're rocking the Shadow right now. You can switch that up if you want. I think it makes sense. You could, of course, go for more penetration, but as I said, I don't think it's going to really benefit you that much. So putting that Mundus towards something else makes more sense. In this case, the critical damage, because we want to hit hard, and when the crits are coming, this is really going to help you because you're already penetrating deeply. You're penetrating deeply, and then once you get your crit, you're gonna do just that much more damage. We are a vampire on this build. You don't have to, but I'm using a vampire skill, and you'll see that in a second. But if you don't want to be a vampire, you don't have to be. Of course, that would mean less flame damage, of course, from all the DKs. I don't think 5% extra flame damage from DKs is that big of a deal. They hit hard, but 5% more or less is just not going to really change anything. But yeah, and we're using the Bewitched Sugar Skulls for our food because they just give you all the stats plus some health recovery. Health recovery, it's not really needed ever since ZeniMax nerfed health recovery a couple years ago. It's just, it's whatever. But having all the stats is really important, as I said, because the Inhale skill is going to give you so much sustain by having like bigger pools, right? So that's the build here. Let's look at the sets that we're running. This is, by the way, this is a very simple build. You could run this without a mythic too if you wanted to. Of course, you're going to be not quite as strong, but this is a build that you could potentially run without a mythic. So let's look at the sets here. So we're running 5 Shattered Fate, right? 5 Shattered on the body. Then we're running 4 Shell Splitter on the jewelry and the front bar weapon. I have a random staff on the back bar, which is indeed infused, which I prefer, but other things, going for a little extra armor, wouldn't be bad. But I do like infused staff on the back bar, just because you get so much more out of your weapon damage enchant. And yeah, I like this. I have a Mara's staff on here because you got a little extra armor on the 2-piece. But put on here what you want. You could run another Shell Splitter. It doesn't do anything because the back bar, we're not really doing anything damage-wise on the back bar. So the penetration there it's kind of just not needed. So put something on that gives you something that you need. Some extra healing maybe, or some armor always works well. Or maybe you want to put on the Maelstrom Resto Staff. That's up to you. I just put a random one on here that had some armor because, on the back bar, we want to be a little bit more tanky. Kind of makes sense. And we're running Bloodspawn as our monster set. And then, of course, the Monomyth for the Mythic. This is the best Mythic in the game right now, which unfortunately means that all the other Mythics are not as good. And I wish this wasn't the case. I wish we had more options for Mythics, but ZeniMax has decided that their monetization model is selling you a new Mythic and then nerfing the old one and making it basically unusable. It is what it is. Like I said, let's not get into it. But yeah, that's basically the build. Let's look at the weights here. So we're rocking 3 medium, 3 light, and 1 heavy. Whether or not this is the best split for you, you can change that all you want. I think it gives me a little bit of everything. Of course, you want to make sure you have, because of your Undaunted passives, you want to have light, medium, and heavy on your setup. But how many of either of them you want to use, that's up to you. I wouldn't really recommend light armor. It's not going to do much for you. I would recommend either, if you want to be more tanky, go like 5 heavy, 1 light, 1 medium, or you want to do 5 medium, 1 heavy, 1 light, if you want to do more damage. So, but yeah, I think 3 light, 3 medium, 1 heavy. That's fine. Why do I have 3 light? If I say you probably shouldn't go that much light, because I had it. It's just that's that simple. I had it, and it doesn't really matter much. Um, but yeah, go for the setup that you find the most comfortable. We got reinforced on our heavy chest here. That just gives you the most armor. It's always a good thing to do that, and the rest is just impen, just giving us that really nice high impen value, which is important. Because without it, you're going to take a lot of damage. The jewelry is infused. At least the shell splitter is infused with weapon damage enchants. And then we got the Bloodthirsty with a weapon damage enchant on the Monomyth. You could run another infused here if you want, but Bloodthirsty, a lot of people always recommend, oh, you're just having one Bloodthirsty for, like the lower health targets so that you get a little extra, because technically this would give you more than this would give you, but only against lower health targets. So if you want more consistent damage, you would go for another infused here. And if you want that kind of like execute damage ramping at the end when people get low health, Bloodthirsty is a good choice. Then on our weapon here, we got a maul, of course, for the penetration, and it's sharpened for more penetration. And as you can see, the shell splitter running 3 penetration passives here, very nice. And of course, Shattered Fate, I didn't go over it. The 5-piece on it, also a lot of penetration. So that's how we get just the really high always on penetration that we want on this build. Shattered Fate is, by the way, that's crafted. It's really easy to get. Shell Splitter is from PvP. You can just buy that for cheap, or just, run a couple of BGs, do a little Cyrodiil, and you might get lucky and pull a couple. So both sets are really easy to get. One can be crafted, the other one can be bought really, really easy. Everybody should have Bloodspawn. It's one of the OG monster sets. And Monomyth could be a little harder to get, but like I said, if you don't have it, you don't have to use it. You could run something else. I wouldn't recommend doing like 5 shell splitter, but like put on whatever you have. Monomyth does make a lot of sense, and it is the strongest mythic, so I do recommend that. But if you don't have it, or you can't get it for some reason, maybe you want to put on a different mythic that kind of helps you with a little bit of damage. Might be Markin. I wouldn't recommend, of course, Oaken Soul, because Oaken Soul is not great, and then you're going to lose your back bars, and then, you have to shift things around. Oaken Soul, not great anymore. Wouldn't recommend it, but Markin could be a worthy replacement here. Would give you a little extra damage, and would also give you a little extra armor, which, as you've seen, we have a decent amount of armor, but we're not like pushing it, right? But if you want to push it, go like 5 heavy, put a Markin on, you're good to go, right? And like I said, on the back bar, we just got that 1 Mara Staff infused, and that's gonna give us that little armor line here as well, just for a little extra armor on the back bar. That's pretty much all we got here. Let's look at the skills. Let's look at the front bar first. We're using Fleet Stab wings. Those are just your wings. Originally, the wings, back when the game came out, were like a reflect, so they would reflect projectiles. They haven't done that in a long, long time. So this is not the reason we're using them. The main reason we're using them is it's an AoE stun. You can stun everybody and knock them back. Everybody around you, which is really nice. They're really nice to pop too. Knocks them back, helps you set up a combo. Because I don't really like Fossilize that much. Fossilize ultimately maybe the stronger stun if you want, but I just like this better because you don't have to like pick your targets that wisely. You can just knock people off of you. It's defensively a really good skill. It's for setting up combos to like stun people before you drop the big hammer on them. Really nice to have. And then also you get Major Expedition, which is fantastic. Having like an on-demand speed buff, it's always something you kind of want on any build. And you also get some immunity to snares and immobilization. So this is a really, really useful skill right now. The next one is disintegrating Dragonfire. This is your DK breath. Just deals some upfront flame damage, then deals some flame damage over 10 seconds. But the main thing here is you get the 6k penetration, which ties in really nicely with our build. Brings you up to that like 28k penetration value. Super, super good. It's a good spammable too. You know, if you want to hit multiple targets, this is a good spammable. It's not super expensive. So even on like a Magicka build, if that still exists, you can still spam this, especially with how much sustain you're getting from the DK inhale. Um, you're gonna have no issues keeping this up. But it's mostly just as part of your combo to kind of prime the target, put the major breach on him, and then hit the big hit on him. Next one, Molten Whip. Now, why are we not using the other morph? Um, because I don't have a good way of really off balancing people on this build. I personally prefer like an AoE off balance. So if you're running this with dual wield or sword and board, you actually have options for AoE off balance um, through the scribed skills. You know, the throwing knife and the throwing shield. They both have an AoE off balance if you want to put that on. And I've used that on a build before. It's actually really nice. So, but since we're using a two-hander here, we don't really have that AoE off balance. We could use Dizzying Swing if you want to use that. That would work too. But you know, I'm not using Dizzying. This is not the kind of build for that. So we're not using that. We're using the Molten Whip. And the Molten Whip is easier to proc because you just have to like normally just like cast DK skills, right? Just casting any DK skills, buffing up, going in, being offensive. This thing is going to automatically proc, and then you can whip them for like a lot of damage. I feel like this is easier for me to control, especially because I don't have to worry about where's my off balance going to come from. Now, DK has a really easy source of off balance if you still want to use it and you don't want to use Dizzying Swing. DKs have a passive that allows you to off balance people if you just heavy attack them. You need a fully charged heavy attack. You're going to put an off balance on. So if you want to do that, that's a way. That's a way. You know, you can always like just rip a heavy resto attack on someone, put them off balance, and then do that. So if that's your jam, do it. I think this one is a little bit better. It gives you more control. You don't have to worry about constantly just having off balance on your target. You're just like, it's one more thing you don't have to worry about, which I like. That's why we don't have any like proc stuff where you just, oh, now you got your 100% crit chance, or now your penetration's up. No, you have it all the time, and that kind of ties into that kind of philosophy of like, you don't have to worry about like just putting stuff on people constantly. Just go in, play normally, and reap the benefits. And yeah, the next one is Chains of Devastation. This is our gap closer. Actually hits pretty hard. I've hit people for like over 6k in PvP with this thing. So even though it's not like necessarily like part of the damage combo, it kind of is part of the damage combo. Because like I said, it can hit pretty hard. But the main thing here is you get your gap closer, which is really helpful. Just getting close to people, just you know, when people are running away. Streakers, everybody can streak. So having a way to catch up is really nice. But the major berserk is really where it's at, because that extra damage goes a long way. You get major evasion, which you know I don't really care much about, but I guess it's nice to have. But yeah, the major berserk is just that's really really nice. Just you know, going in with the gap closer being ready, and then having that 10% extra damage once you're ready to drop your combo. It's a no-brainer, really. Next one is Incinerate. Um, just a good overall skill. It gives you your spell and weapon crit, which you need. And you know, just you always want to keep this up every 5 seconds. It pulses, does damage around you, has a chance to apply burning, which is not super important, but you know, you just get that. And you can combo with this. This is part of the combo we're using, which I'm going to be talking about in a second. But yeah, it's really nice to have this one up at all times. Just some extra damage. It's just going to go off while you're doing other stuff. and just adding to your burst potential. On the ultimate, we're using Take Flight. This one, you know it. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's still decent. It's fairly cheap. It has a pretty long range, so you can leap people from pretty far away. Deals a decent amount of damage, knocks people up. And then, you increase your damage done by 10% after casting this one for 15 seconds, which is also really nice. Especially, if you're setting up a nice combo with Inhale and Incinerate, and you leap in, and then you get the damage bonus, and you already got the damage bonus from chains as well, right? You might chain yourself in, and then you leap. Now you got the double damage bonus on both of them. And now your whip's going to hit super hard, and your Inhale goes off, your Incinerate goes off. Ah, man, it's a lot of damage. But yeah, it's a pretty nice little gap closer. Unfortunately, a lot of people block it these days because it's kind of telegraphed. And it's not doing a whole lot of damage when people block it, unfortunately. But it's still, it's still Dragon Leap, man. You got to have it. Let's look at the back bar here. Blood of the Elder Dragon. That's your bread and butter heal. It's going to heal you for a ton. It gives you minor courage too, which is super nice. So just a little extra spell damage for you. And yeah, that's basically what it is. That's your spammable. Also, nice thing is you can heal nearby allies too. So, I always like having skills that not only heal me, but others too. So I can just kind of like help them out when they need help. So we got two heals here that can heal others. Always a big fan of that. But yeah, this is when you really need a big heal. You pop this thing. It's fairly costly, but it does a lot for you. Also, like I said, it gives you the minor courage, which is super, super nice. Okay, there it is. Heart of Flame, your DK Inhale. They changed it. It's kind of busted, honestly. If you don't know what this does and you're not using it, I don't think you're playing DK this patch. I hate to say it, because I don't like when there's like certain like must-have skills or sets in the game, but this is definitely one of those. It's really, really good. There's two morphs. Like the other one does more damage, but it's not going to give you the stamina sustain. This one does health, magicka, and stamina. Still gives you that exhale after 4 seconds, but the exhale is not going to be as strong. It's still going to be strong enough. Like, it still hits fairly hard. But the big thing here is the sustain that comes out of it. You restore 18% of your missing health and 15% of your missing magicka and stamina every 2 seconds. This is really good. I'll showcase this right now. Let's just spam your magicka empty, right? So your magicka is kind of empty right now. You're like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do? You put this thing on, and you just, I mean, look at the sustain. This alone is just fantastic sustain. The thing that I like to do is I like to pop this and then rip a resto heavy attack, and that just takes care of all my sustain. So if I have a second to just like take a step back, pop that inhale, rip a resto heavy attack, you're good to go. But like I said, this is really good for your stamina sustain too. I'm just gonna dodge roll my stamina empty here, and let's get it all empty. There you go. Like, you get so much sustain from this thing. Also, you can hold block. You can hold block and spam this, and it's gonna keep your stamina up. So if you want to use this on a block build, it's kind of busted. And that's basically how all the really tanky DKs do it these days. On their block builds, they just like hold block and they spam this, and they're never gonna run out of stamina. It's kind of busted. It's like the lower your stamina is, the more you get back, right? So if your stamina is almost empty and you rip this thing, you just get a huge chunk of stamina back. And you, like I said, you can spam it. The funny thing is, you can spam this, and you will never run out of magicka. If you only spam this, you can't run out of magicka, because it gives you more magicka back than it costs to spam. So if I just keep spamming this, It's, as you can see, it's like kind of hard to even get your Magicka that low. You can't even run out. Like, you can't. You can't run out. That's the thing. This is endlessly spammable. If you're not casting anything else, you can endlessly cast this. This is kind of crazy. So, really super insane sustain tool. Like I said, if you're not using this, I don't think you're really playing DK this patch. So, definitely use this. That's why we're using the Sugar Skulls, because it gives us bigger Magicka and stamina pools, which really like comes in really handy here with the missing um Magicka and stamina scaling, right? You have a bigger pool, you get more missing, and you get more sustain out of this thing. So yeah, that's a no-brainer, really. Next one is rapid regen. You don't have to use this if you don't like. You don't have to use a resto staff if you don't like. You can run an ice staff for being extra tankiness, some Magicka blocking maybe. But yeah, I like this because I do like having a little heal over time, and I like healing other people. So with rapid regen and the blood of the elder dragon, you can actually really like support some people. You know, of course, this is an offensive build, but hey, if you see someone that's struggling, be a nice guy and just put a couple of heals on them. They'll thank you for it. They're probably not going to thank you for it, but you know, just be a nice guy. The next one is Shatter Spike Mantle. This is your armor buff, basically. And yeah, gives you the major resolve. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You get some damage over time out of it too. And you get your landslide. It's not super important, but the damage over time can help. You know, putting this on and then this one here, that gives you a little bit of like supporting damage over time that can help you whittle someone down. But this is really mostly for the armor buff. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Next one's Molten Armament. This is your weapon and spell damage buff. And it also gives you the little the Molten Armament's kind of proc that it has now for like dealing damage with light and heavy attacks, does like an additional proc of flame damage every 1.5 seconds. It can help. It's not anything crazy, but it can help, definitely. You know, getting that extra little damage out of it. And the next one, our ultimate on the back bar, is Swarming Scion. As I said, we're not using corrosive. You can if you want. If you're like, nah, I still want my corrosive, use it. It's gonna work well on this build. Of course, you're gonna have your 100% penetration on corrosive, and if your corrosive's not up, then you still have your 28k. So if you're just into the like, I want to have as much penetration at all times, yeah, go for corrosive. I didn't want to use it. I started to really dislike it. So I put on Swarming Scion because I do like vampires. I know vampires are really bad right now, and Swarming Scion definitely isn't the greatest skill ever. It's way too expensive for what it does. But it's pretty nice too. I kinda had more fun with this than corrosive. Gotta be honest. Um, it's kind of an oh shit button too, because it will heal you to full. Um, when you cast it. So when you're about to die, you can pop this, and it's gonna first of all give you 10,000 more resources, which is gonna just make you more tanky. Give you up to like 40k. I think you're gonna be 42k maybe health with this thing, and it's gonna like instantly heal you to full. So it's like kind of an oh shit button when you really need it. And then you actually do a lot of damage around you. Now, of course, corrosive does a lot of damage around you too, but this one, it's nothing to shake a stick at, really. I've seen up to like 4k ticks on this thing. It's really nice. And yeah, like if like I said, if you want to use something else, something more defensive, something more offensive, whatever, this is kind of your flex spot. Put on whatever you like. If it's corrosive, put on corrosive, whatever. Um, but I'm kind of enjoying this a little bit. You know, it's something different. But yeah, that's the skills. Let's look at the CP here. Of course, the green tree doesn't really matter. We're running the Gifted Rider, the War Mound, Sustaining Shadows, and Steed's Blessing. That's never going to change. That's the same on every build. Just gives you the extra mount speed, basically. You know, like your mount stamina, blah blah blah. A little extra movement speed. It is what it is. Nothing too crazy here. Then in the blue tree, we got fighting finesse, backstabber, deadly aim, and mastered arms. Deadly aim gives you the extra single target, which is going to be your whips, and mastered arms increase the direct damage, which is going to be your whips as well, and your leap. You can go for area of effect if you want, because you have some AoE on this build. So this would be a good choice too. But I decided to just like I wanted to just go for the heavy hitters. So direct damage and the single target. The direct damage is gonna apply to both your whip and your leap, and this one is only gonna apply to your whip. So you know, like kind of a double whammy here on the whip. So you actually get those really nice heavy hitting whips. That's pretty much it. Like I said, if you want to go for biting aura or something, you can do that. And then on the red side of things, we got Boundless Vitality, Slippery, Fortified, and Pain's Refuge. Normally, I like to use some more sustained focused passives like Sustained by Suffering. This is something that I would normally have on, but since we don't need that, because we have so much sustain coming from the inhale, we don't really need it. So we're putting a little extra armor on here with the 1731 from Fortified. And then, of course, Slippery, you know, the auto break free. Not really sure if it actually works because I feel like I get stunned a lot and I don't auto break. But hey, you know, doesn't hurt to have it, I guess. And then, of course, Pain's Refuge. So if you have negative effects on you, this scales up to like 20% damage mitigation. Super nice when you're being jumped by a lot of people. They put a lot of stuff on you. Helps you kind of stay alive longer. And that's pretty much it. That's the build. I hope you like it. I'll leave you with a couple of clips here from a BG so you can see this thing in action. One thing I want to just point out so you can kind of look at that in the clips. We're doing the combo. When I say the combo, what's the combo? Of course, first, you want to make sure you have all your important buffs up. The important buffs basically are the Molten Armaments, your Shatter Spike, and you want to have your Blood of the Elder Dragon. This is going to give you the weapon and spell damage buff. Also going to give you weapon and spell damage. And this is going to give you the armor. This is what you want to have up at all times when you engage. So you put these up first. And then you put up your Incinerate. And then your Inhale. And then you basically engage. And they both go off at the same time if you do it right. I think the right timing would be Incinerate, just wait for a short moment, then do the Inhale, and then they kind of go off at the same time. This is going to be a lot of extra damage when you're going in. And then I like to engage with the chains, right? Just pull myself in, and then either go instantly, like pull in, instantly knock them back with the wings, or pull myself in and then instantly take flight and whip, right? That's kind of what you want to do. If you have time, you know, you want to put the Dragonfire on, of course, because of the penetration. So if you want to prime your target with this first, that's nice. You don't have to, because you're going to hit hard either way. Like if you just want to surprise someone, you don't have to do it, because you have to get close to them. So if you just want to pull yourself in, do a quick combo, take them out instantly, that works. But if you can prime them, you know, just put that on first and then do the combo, really nice. So basically, this would be, you prime them, right? You put this thing on, you put this thing on, then you pull yourself in, you knock them back, and then you go in for the whip. And that's going to be your combo. You're going to see that a lot in the clips. So yeah, that's the build. I hope you like it. I hope you give it a try. Is this the greatest build ever? It's not going to be as strong as a meta build right now. But if you like a more simple build, a more always-on kind of damage, where you don't have to proc certain things, and you have to strike in a certain, like, you know, like mechanical acuity, where you have like 4-second window where you have to do the damage once it's fully procced. If you just like a more natural kind of play style, where you decide when you go in and when things are happening, this might be the build for you. Always on damage, always on penetration. and you have some flex spots here to kind of make it your own build and adjust it to your liking. Hope you like it. If so, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I'll be back with another video soon. Enjoy the PvP clips. I'll see you then. Take it easy. Bye-bye. That's the combo I'm talking about. Oh my goodness, the combo. Fuck. Oh my god, I'm cooking! Oh, I'm cooking! That's the combo I'm talking about. Yep, get out of here. Oh my goodness! A massacre! It's insane. I'm telling you, man, it's the combo. It's impossible, man. It's impossible. I mean, I'm unstoppable. They fall for it every time, man. That is... Oh, man. They fall for it every time. GG. That was a good one.